So proud of y'all showing up on this icy, snowy morning. We're Zooming from home. I need you to copy down this information because I'm going to have to erase my board. So I'll give you a few seconds to write this down. And today you're definitely going to need your calculator. What I'm going to do is show you how to use these formulas, which are not as foreboding as they look, so that if you don't have a calculator, you will know how to work these problems, okay? And then I promise before we get off, I will show you how to do this in your calculator, and I would encourage you to use your calculator on these. Okay, combinations and permutations are different ways to figure probability. Now, there is a possibility, the main difference, let's say, between combinations and permutations are that the combinations, the order does not matter. This is the only difference between the two. Permutations, the order does matter, and I'll explain that as we work on some of our problems. If you'll notice, the only difference in the formulas, the top is exactly the same. The bottom is exactly the same, except combinations actually has an extra piece right here. Okay, so if for some reason you're trying to memorize these formulas, I don't know that they're on your formula sheet. I'll have to look. If you're trying to memorize, they're exactly the same, except for this extra R factorial. Now, we talked about factorials yesterday, and so all I need to do now is tell you what these letters stand for. N stands for the number, the total number. It's funny. Total number of things. Okay, so that's a very weird definition, but that's how we're going to use it. Some possible questions might be, if I have 5 people in the room and I want to sit them in 5 chairs. Let's say we have 7 people in the room and I only have 5 chairs to sit them in. How many different combinations can I make with those 7 people? So in that particular case, N would be our 7 people. Since I only have 5 chairs, then R is going to be, this is how the wording will be in your problems. Taken at a time. Which means in our fantasy question that I just started with, I said we have 7 people. That's the total of things we have to deal with. In this case, it's people. Sometimes it's food. Sometimes it's colors. Okay. And the R will be like the 5 chairs, taken 5 at a time. You'll understand this more as we see our papers. Oh, darn. I was going to print those out. Okay. So okay, and N and R are going to mean the same thing in both formulas. Okay, N is the total number of things we're working with. R, or R, are the things that I have, I'm going to use them R at a time. I am struggling to say the right words, so we're going to move right into one of the problems. Okay. All right, but R means the total things. Now, when you have permutations, this is like I have, nope, I'm just going to do an example. Okay, if you guys will take your packet 2, and I'm going to count on you guys because I don't have the paper in front of me. I didn't bring it home with me. So if you will look at your packet 2, and I think it's probably page 4. It's the first one that says combinations or permutations. I don't know which one it is that's first.
It is number 6, second page.
6. And go ahead, Rachel, turn your mute off so I can hear the rest.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
That's the first one that has either combinations or permutations. And
Yes.
the first one is permutations, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me check.
That
is going to be the second page to the end. It's the last two pages.
Second one from the end. Okay, permutation.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need someone loudly to tell me what number 1 says. Brandy, could you read that to me? It'll say permutation, right?
Yeah.
Brandy, you need to hit your space bar so I can hear you. There.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Would you read
10.
Say it again. It's 10.
Yes.
Okay. And comma.
Yes, ma'am. 4.
4. And parentheses, right?
Parentheses, yes.
Okay. What this says, and this is kind of hard because usually it says probability, but this is permutation, okay? It says you have 10 things to work with, but you only have 4 spaces to put people in. That means 6 people are going to be left out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it could be different people in, like, look at this. Okay, I have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the things that I'm working with. And let's say I have these chairs to put them in. Okay, so I'm going to have to pick somebody from here and mark them out, put them in here. And then I'm going to have to mark somebody else out and put them in here and somebody else out. So only 4 of these people will get in the chairs. But they want to know, and it has to be in a certain order. It has to be in a certain order. So anyhow, let's just work this problem, okay? All right, if it's a permutation, then we found out that the formula for permutation is n factorial over n minus r factorial. That's what we wrote down, right? I want to make sure. Yes. Okay, so we're just going to plug in the numbers. Please stick with me. I'll make some sense out of this in a minute. So if we're working with permutations, we have to use the permutation formula. Now, what is our n? How many things are we dealing with?
10.
10. So on top, I have a 10 factorial. On the bottom, I'm going to plug in. The n is the same. So 10 minus an r is 4 factorial. Are y'all with me so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I'm doing everything by hand, and you guys know how to do factorial in your calculator, but let's not do it right now. I want you to see it. So 10 factorial means 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that would be the top. Now on the bottom, it says 10 minus 4, and that's in parentheses, so we need to do this first. And 10 minus 4 is 6. So on the bottom, I'm going to have 6 factorial, right?
Yes.
6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And if you can see the 6, all of these will cancel out because the top and the bottom
Hi,
are the same.
Deborah.
So
San-
the answer to this problem is going to be 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. And I'm assuming we have calculators.
Sandra, I mean, not Sandra. Deborah,
Yes.
Sandra's having a hard time getting in.
Okay. I will get her on the phone with me because I don't see her.
She sent a message to the group. I told her to go to your emails, Gmail or Yahoo, and find your name.
Okay, Sandra, I don't see anything with her name. Okay, Sandra. Sending your invite again. So I'm going to pause the recording
Okay.
while I get Sandra in this problem. And so what we said was the number of people who want that position are 10, but I only have 4 positions to fill. So some of these guys aren't going to get in, period. Okay, now this is how I worked the problem by hand. We found out that factorials are this. 10 factorial starts with a 10 and multiplies all the way down to 1. Down on the bottom, 10 minus 4 is 6 factorial. So it says I'm going to start with 6 and I'm going to multiply all the way down to 1. We notice that in division, if the top and the bottom are the same, they will cancel out and make a 1. So times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is the same number. And so right here, 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. I wonder what's going on here. 10 times 9 times 8 times 7. Yes. So there are 5,040 different ways I could pick from these 10 people and put them in order: president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Do y'all see? Okay, not happy with the equation? Okay, let's jump to the calculator this minute then. We have this problem. You do not have to do any of the problems on these next 2 sheets. You do not have to do any of them by hand. I wanted to show you what the formula means. Now, if you're going to work this problem, it says permutations. This is important. So if you're going to work it in the calculator, you need to tell how many people first. I'll try to do this. So the first thing you're going to put in is 10 because I have 10 things to work with. Then we know that permutation is a probability. So we're going to press the probability button right here that we used yesterday for factorial. Okay. and this comes up, we have a choice. We can do NPR or NCR. Notice the difference. The P is the permutation. The C is the combination. We're doing a permutation, so we're going to choose number 2. This is what shows up on the screen now. Oh, I chose the wrong one, of course. Good heavens, Deborah. 10 probability. We're going to choose the first one. Heavens. So it should look like this. And what it's saying is I have 10 things. I'm going to do a permutation with them 4 at a time. This is how it goes in your calculator. When you press enter, you get the same number without doing all the extra stuff in the formula. Do y'all see?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me what the next problem is. Brandy, your voice is coming through pretty good. Can you tell me what the number 2 on that page is for permutations?
It's permutation.
Okay.
Quotation 30, comma, 2, comma, or yeah, 2, quotation, minus,
Oh, minus. Okay.
permutation, quotation 25, comma,
These are parentheses, okay?
yeah, parentheses, I'm sorry,
25 comma
1 parentheses.
1. So this says I have 30 people. I only have 2 positions to fill. This one says I have 25 people and only 1 position to fill. So they better be good, huh? And it simply says to find this information and subtract them. So some of you I know do not have your calculators at home. So I'm going to show this on the YouTube. Okay, we're going to do, now you can do the whole thing in here if you want to. Let's do it separate first to make sure that it works. So to put the 30 in, we have to tell them how many we're going to work with and then tell them what we're going to do with it. Probability button. And it is a permutation, so it is the first choice. So we have 30 things taken 2 at a time equals. So we have 870 for this one minus, and let's do it again. So now I have 25 things. Remember, you have to tell them how many first, then go to your probability and choose number 1. Now, how many things at a time?
1.
Just 1 thing at a time. This is what your calculator will look like. When we press E, we will have 25. And then we simply subtract the 2. And the answer to this will be 845. Okay, now let's try putting it in the calculator all at once. So the first one, we're going to say 30, probability button. Yeah. Number 1, taken 2 at a time. I bet we need parentheses on that if we're going to do the whole thing. So I'm going to go way back to the front, hopefully, and I'm going to put a parentheses there. Yeah. Okay, if we're going to do this together, we have to make this first one be something by itself. So we put it in parentheses. That's going to be better. And now we're going to try to do the whole problem. So we're going to do minus. And we'll do parentheses around this whole thing. So I'm going to start with the parentheses. I have 25 things. And I want to do a permutation one at a time. And close the parentheses. Now cross your fingers and hopefully we'll get the same answer. 845, okay? But it's definitely going to be important for you if you've got two different permutations that you're going to try to do together on the calculator, totally put parentheses around the whole first problem and then parentheses around the whole second problem, okay? Now, since we have started late and Zoom will cut us off after a certain amount of time, then we're just going to talk about the combinations really quick and call this good, you guys. So you can cuddle up in front of the phone. Okay? We're going to do combinations. So Brandy, your voice is really helping me out. So if you would go to the next page, please. And those are combinations, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's do number one. And then if you could give me one like we just did, where we do several things, okay? So
Okay.
let's do number one.
C4 or 4C.
4C?
Yes, 4C parentheses 14 comma 12 parentheses.
Now, the only thing that comes to my mind is kind of a crazy thing, but in combinations right here, this is like I have 14 different sandwich things I can make. Like I have lettuce and tomatoes and bologna and ham and blah, blah, blah. I have 14 things. And I want to make sandwiches with only 12 of those things on the sandwiches. Now you can see that it's not going to matter whether the lettuce comes first or the bologna comes first. So in combinations, the order does not matter. I just have 14 things that I could make a sandwich with, but I only want 12 things on each sandwich. I want to know how many different kind of sandwiches I could possibly make doing this. Now, the problem here, we need to work this first in our calculator. And then this is called a scalar. And this thing out front is we're going to, since it's crammed up next to it, we're going to multiply 4 times our answer. Y'all see? So this combination can be done in the calculator. You already saw that in the probability. So let's do this in our calculator. It's going to be exactly like the permutation. So I'm going to put 14 in because I need the calculator to know what we're working with. We're working with 14, but I want a combination now. The combination is still in the probability. But see, the combination is the number 2 one. So I'm going to choose that. And this is what it looks like on the screen so far. And then I need to tell it how many things it's going to be on each sandwich. 12. Y'all see? And so when I press enter, it will tell me what that, I can make 91 different types of sandwiches. Every one would be different from the other by using 14 condiments, but only putting 12 at a time on a sandwich. So 91. Now that is the answer in here. And now I need to just take it by 4 which in your calculator, you just multiply by 4, and we will get 364. Now again, some of you may want to put the entire thing in your calculator, and that is possible, but remember the place I boxed in, let's put that in parentheses, okay? So let's do this again and see if you can put the entire problem in the calculator at the same time. So I'm going to say 4 because that's how my problem starts. Then I want to put parentheses. I was pointing at it on my screen. It's funny. We're going to put this part in parentheses. So I need to open a parentheses to put all of that combination stuff in. So then I'm going to tell them I'm dealing with 14 things. Get up there. Now I have to tell them, is it combinations or permutations? It is combination, which is the second one. I want to take them 12 at a time. And because I want that combination thing boxed in by itself, I need to close my parentheses. You'll see what it looks like. And then when we press enter, hopefully we'll get the same answer. 360. So I know a lot of you love this calculator, and I can't imagine this problem being one of those first ones on your GED test where you can't use a calculator. If you see one of these problems, you're going to be able to use your calculator. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Now, since you're able to use your calculator, do you want to try one more before we get off?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Randy, do you see one that might be, that looks pretty funky that we could try?
How about number 8?
Okay, those of you that have your worksheet, this is going to be number 8. I'm ready.
44. I'm sorry, explanation mark. I'm sorry.
Oh, factorial.
Yes, factorial.
Okay.
Over 45 factorial. Combination.
Okay. Oh, I
And
need
parentheses. Yes. And
yeah, let me
then
fix that so it's not so yucky. Combination. Okay.
8, comma 8 parentheses.
Okay. Whew. Okay, you know you can do each one of these separately. And let's show you how to do that. We could do each one separately so that we have all the numbers that we need to work with. So to find the 44 factorial, we put 44 in here. Factorial is a probability. So we're going to go to the probability button. And we found out yesterday that number 3 is our factorial. That's where we get our exclamation point. So it should look like this on the screen. And we press enter. And wow, it's a huge number. So wipe that out and we're going to do it all together. We're doing the whole thing together. Okay? Because that's just, it's scientific notation. It's going to cause you a lot of trouble. Not scientific notation, but using it here. So we can do something here. If we know that 44 factorial starts here and it goes 43, 42, and it goes all the way down to 1, right? This is okay with y'all, right?
Yes.
And then on the bottom, not counting this, on the bottom, we have 45 factorial. So that's 45 times 44 times 43 all the way down to 1. Are you guys with me?
Yes.
So can you see that from 44 all the way down to 1, everything matches? So we can mark out everything except for this 45 on the bottom. Y'all see? So here's our problem now. We have simply 45, and it's on the bottom of the fraction because we marked everything else out. Now you cannot leave the top blank, so we're going to put a 1 here. Remember, I told you about that really crazy 1? He's just hanging out everywhere. So we're going to put a 1 up here since there's nothing else. And then all we have to do now is this on the bottom. It's going to be times this. So let's go to the calculator and find out just what this amounts to. Go in your calculator and tell me what the combination of 8 things taken 8 at a time, tell me what that equals. Does somebody get the answer? I'm not hearing anything. This is what it should look like in your, you're putting the 8 in first. Then since it's a combination, we want to find the combination. Take an 8 at a time. I heard it. Who said it? Mary did, I think. What'd you get?
Yeah,
1.
1.
yeah, it's 1.
It's going to be 1. So I have the 1 over 45 times 1. And so your answer is going to be 1 over 45. Now, Brandy, is that what's on the back or is it a decimal?
Probably decimal. 1.
Yeah, 145. 1 over 45.
It says 1 over 45, Mary?
Yes.
You find it,
Yes.
Brandy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So something that's really hard here, let's pick it apart and do what we know. I've always heard the saying, if this looks like an elephant, let's just eat it one piece at a time. We eat our elephants one piece at a time. So do the things that you know how to do. We know 44 factorial is this. We know 45, when they're so close together, I would do something like this. It's only going to leave a number or 2 for you. This is a lot of help right here. And then you know how to find the combination in your calculator. So do them separately. Is there anybody that has questions on this? It was kind of a jumbled lesson.
Yeah,
But do you feel okay now with the calculator?
with the calculator, yes. But I had a problem I was trying to figure out yesterday. It's on.
Okay, let me find out if there's any more questions on combinations and permutations for right now. Anybody?
No.
Okay, how many of you have a calculator at home? I know you work with them in the classroom. Sandra, do you have yours yet?
No, I don't. But I'll see if I can get one today.
Okay, well, don't go out in all of this, okay? You can catch
Okay.
up on this in class. And I just don't want you to put yourself in danger today, okay?
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, and Mary, I see yours. Brandy, you said yours was supposed to come today,
Yes, it should be coming in today.
depending on the weather, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and Rachel, you have yours with you, right?
Yes.
And then I don't know if Luanne's still with me. Luanne, are you still with me? Isabel, do you have yours? Isabel, do you have a calculator at home? What we can do with you, Sandra,
Mhm.
what we can do until you can get one,
Sleep.
I can probably check one out to you for a while.
Fine.
Somebody's phone. I can check one out to
Not
you for
mine.
a while to use at home until you're
Okay.
get one. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Any-
Don't forget, I won't be in class tomorrow because I have that appointment.
Yes, ma'am. And I put that down on my calendar, but I'm glad you reminded me here at home. I appreciate that. So I will see you on Monday. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other questions at all? Rachel's going to stay on a minute so I can help her with something from yesterday. If any of you need help from something from yesterday, feel free to stay on. But I'm finished with the instruction part.